Chris Hardwick, also known as the Nerdist. I'm speaking slowly because I'm hearing myself. Let me start again. Chris Hardwick, also known as the Nerdist. He's got this phrase that he uses a lot on his podcasts called first world problems. And I'm having one of those problems right now. Let me stop for a while and see if you can hear this. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear that or not. So I'll just tell you that I've got some neighbors that have moved in recently that are balcony dwellers. Mainly, I think, because they're smokers. And I've thought, for a lot of years, I thought that's ironic that smokers tend to get a lot more fresh air than non-smokers because they've been forced outside. I mean, back in the good old days, the smokers could smoke wherever they wanted to and stink up every place inside, and that's all I'm saying about that. It's definitely a first world problem because it's not one of the worst things in the world. It just sometimes when I'm just kicking back at night because it's 9:24 in the p.m. Normally people aren't speaking loudly enough for their voices to be echoing throughout the buildings, in between the buildings, outside, but these neighbors happen to be doing that. So there you have it. I was going to wait until they stopped talking in order to do my recording, but apparently that's not happening anytime soon. So here I am, and it's funny because I still hear myself even starting to speak in a more of a hushed tone. I don't like speaking very loudly here in my apartment, where by definition of an apartment I share walls with people. So when it gets to be later at night, I don't like to speak very loudly, and even now I'm even a little self-conscious, not wanting to speak loudly, even though there's people on the balcony with their voices echoing loud enough for me to hear inside, and my windows are closed, by the way. Not a big deal, just something worth mentioning. Something else worth mentioning is a character flaw that I have is now that I'm hearing the people laughing out there, it reminds me that a lot of times when I'm not part of a group that's having fun, like right now I hear them on their balcony laughing, it annoys me. And not just because of the noise, but just the fact that people are laughing and having fun, and that's weird. That's weird to me. Why do I feel that way? Or I guess the better question is, do you feel that way? And getting back to the why part of it is it because I'm jealous because I'm not out there having fun with them? I don't know. I remember feeling that way in college sometimes when I was studying and there was partying going on, and it would annoy me. Now that makes sense because I was studying and not necessarily having fun. Although I guess learning can be fun. But I wasn't necessarily having fun, so for other people to be partying while I was working, I could kind of understand being annoyed by that. But now it makes no sense because check it out. Okay, again influenced by my namesake, or I'm his namesake. The product placement: Widmer Brothers Hefeweizen. Hefeweizen looks like Hefe Wiesen, but I did take German in high school and college, so I believe that would be Hefeweizen. So it is definitely a character flaw that I would be annoyed by people hanging out on their balcony, laughing and having a good time, when I'm hanging out in my apartment having a good time, right? Is it because they're socializing and I'm alone? Is that what makes me jealous? I don't know. The thing about that is, and speaking of my namesake up in Oregon, I don't want this to be insulting, but he and especially because, hi Joe, because you're watching this right now, most likely. You're one of the few people who watches my videos on a regular basis. But he doesn't believe me, and he's not the only one. People don't believe me when I tell them I'm just fine. I've gotten to this point in my life where I'm fine being alone. I mean, there's certain times when my daughters are over at their mom's place that I miss them, and but that generally happens on a holiday. I think, yeah, recently was Easter, I think it was Easter. I had those kind of melancholy feelings because we were not a family unit anymore. But for the most part, I'm not longing for a relationship at this point. And I know I'm not kidding myself. I'm not in denial about this because I've recently gone back and read my journals throughout the years and decades. And man, before, when I was between relationships, I was looking. I was longing, I was looking, I wrote how I was lonely and I needed somebody, and so I think the fact that I'm not feeling that way now, I don't really feel like I'm masking anything or hiding anything. I like the solitude. The paradox, or I think this is not really a paradox, because it's not that I don't like people. Contrary to that thing earlier where I was talking about sometimes being annoyed by the sounds of people having fun, I'm generally I like people. I want people to have fun. I like people to succeed. I don't think success and happiness are a zero-sum game. We can be happy if we choose to be. I know that's simplistic because there's times in our lives when things aren't going well and we're not happy, but even then, sometimes I think there's people living in poverty or bad situations who are happy, and there's people at the proverbial top of the mountain, or sometimes the literal top of the mountain, that are miserable. So for the most part, happiness is a choice. And I really wish I could remember where I was going with this. I don't remember. There was a point in there somewhere. Or maybe not. I mean, life is about tangents. Oh, it was, the paradox. I was going to say it was a paradox, but it's not really. I mean, I value my time alone, but I also like people. I like hanging out with people. I like communicating with people, either in person or various means. Like this, for instance. I mean, on the one hand, you might think this is like, being a vlog, video log or a vlog, or the video equivalent of a journal, because I'm a man and men don't do diaries. But you might think that this being like the video equivalent of a journal or a diary, that I'm talking to myself. But if that were the case, then I wouldn't be recording it, and I wouldn't be broadcasting it for the world to hear, or for the 5 or 6 people to hear. So I just looked down and I realized I've been talking for over 10 minutes, much longer than my normal videos. And like anything is normal. And also normally on Wednesday, my Webcam Wednesday, I'd be playing music, but I just didn't feel like it today. And since this is my thing, and whatever it is that I'm doing here is my thing, I felt I didn't want to force myself to play a song if I didn't feel like it. If I forced myself to do things more often, I suppose I could be more successful at this. Well, maybe not this, but something in the entertainment industry. I get acting gigs now and then, and various gigs now and then, but I guess I'll close. I'm looking for a closing point. What I've realized over the years, and realized recently, is that even though I've done a number of things, I've tried a number of things over the course of my life, and I felt like I've come really close, because I know some very successful and some of them famous people in a number of different areas. In football, because I played college football. Some of my teammates went on to the NFL Hall of Fame. Let's see, in comedy, I rubbed elbows with a number of people that are famous. Jim Carrey, for one. We're not friends by any means, but there was a time when I was working at the Comedy Store when it was common that I was in the presence of people like that, and it gives the illusion, because I was there. I was reaching out. I was there, reaching out and touching those people. Well, not actually touching them, because that would be kind of weird, but it gave the illusion that I was really close. But in reality, it's like that first, the longest yard comes to mind, because it's that first 99 yards is it may not be easy, but relatively speaking, it's a lot easier than that last yard. Getting to the point where you meet Jim Carrey is a hell of a lot different than being Jim Carrey, or even being anywhere in the ballpark of Jim Carrey's talent, or his making the kind of money Jim Carrey makes. That last yard is probably requires as much work, if not more work, than the first 99. And that sounds like a good place to stop. So I will. And let's drink to that. What are we going to drink to? The first 99 yards? Or that longest yard? Or just enjoying all of the yards? Yeah, let's drink to that. I'm going to drink to enjoying all of the yards. Thank you very much.